Yes, it is always game day in Cleveland. He's Daryl Ryder. I'm Andy Baskin. We are brought to you by Smiley One and Bryant, Northeast Ohio's premier heating and cooling solution. All right, Daryl, we've had a couple days to digest the big victory over Jacksonville as we look ahead to Sunday's big game coming up against the New York Giants. But, Daryl, what have we kind of learned about this team over the last couple days that will help you move forward, especially because they're 1-1 right now, so you can be optimistic, but you can also be pessimistic too?
They're not as healthy as we would like them to be. I think that's kind of the big thing right now, Andy, is we record this on a Wednesday. Denzel Ward limited at practice due to the shoulder. Talked to him in the locker room. He said he's fine, good to go. Meanwhile, Kevin Stefanski was like, well, I hope he can play more than 11 snaps like he did against Jacksonville come Sunday against the Giants. The offensive tackle situation is a thing. Once again, it has been a thing. It still is a thing. DeJuan Jones didn't practice on Wednesday. Talked to him in the locker room, and he told us no big deal, and he plans to play on Sunday. Talked to Jack Conklin in the locker room. Rinse, repeat, feeling better. Things are great. Now, Wednesday was his first full practice, so I guess that's a positive thing. But I didn't see him do the sled drill, move the sled. And I don't know. My thing is, if you're not moving sleds, you're not going to be moving defensive linemen. So, he practiced full, but, they're not doing full contact in these practices either. You know what I'm saying? And then who am I forgetting? Jedrick
Wills, yeah.
Yeah, our good buddy Jed Wills, who may or may not play at some point this season. I'll say this. Conklin is closer than Jed, in my view, to playing. And Jed basically told us, I'll just play whenever they say I can play. So there you go. And Myles Garrett didn't practice. They're resting his foot because he's going to try and play through this thing. And he played a little over 50% of the snaps against Jacksonville with it. And so, that to me, that's the number one thing going into Giants week here, Andy, is just the health of some key players.
All right, so let me go back to Jack Conklin because you said you talked to him. How close do you think he is? Because it felt like on Sunday he was knocking on the door to be playing.
I think he's still knocking on the door to playing. If he practices full the entire week, then yes, I would say he's got a great shot at playing on Sunday. But again, it did catch my attention when I saw that he did not participate in the individual sled drills that they do. Neither did Jed Wills. They both were spectators for that. So, positive sign that the Browns listed him as a full participant for that practice. And that, again, that's the first time since he hit the practice field there. I think it was the Tuesday of cut down day, if I remember correctly. There was that week, but that week in between or whatever. They had 2 weeks leading up to the season opener there. It was the week before the first game week of the season. The dates are they all blend together, but you know what I'm talking about. So actually, no, it was the Monday. I'm sorry. It was the Monday before cut down day because cut down day was on Tuesday or whatever. So, but it is a positive that, again, they listed him as a full participant, but we'll see what he does the rest of the week.
All right, so let's take a look at the offense here for a second because, Ken Dorsey it takes over. And, is it Ken Dorsey? Is it Kevin Stefanski? What are we seeing? And was that a Kevin Stefanski 16-play drive that got things going for the lone touchdown on Sunday?
It looked to me like it was a Kevin Stefanski drive. You know what I mean? I mean, they ran the ball, and they ran the ball a lot. And it's running back by committee too, right? He started out with Dante Foreman. Then it went to Jerome Ford. They got 125 yards on the ground, which was great. But, I kind of feel like until Deshaun is back, and by back, I mean like he's really back. You know what I mean? That.
Are we trending in that direction, though? Because I think fans are kind of foot on the gas, foot on the brake, and more on the brake than it is on the gas.
Well, he took steps forward, no question about it. He looked a lot better against Jacksonville. He looked more comfortable. He handled the pressure a little better. Still needs to handle that 3rd and 6 a lot better at the end of the game. you know, now he said that he thought he saw a touchdown developing there, and that's why he went ahead with the throw and at the last second saw that there was a defender ready to bring him down. But it was a step forward. Like it's still not vintage Deshaun, but we got to see pieces and parts of vintage Deshaun in that game, and that's a positive.
All right, so where is the offensive growth? Does it have to come from Deshaun? Does it have to come from someone who's filling in for someone who doesn't feel good, like David, or who's out, like David Njoku? Does Amari Cooper start to I heard what you said on the radio, and I agree with you that, excuse me, he has the street cred that if he drops a pass or two, we get it and we totally understand it. But is it that, or is it trying to plug in the holes on the offensive line, or is it putting Zach Zinder in there at tight end, sort of as a 6th offensive lineman?
I think it's all the above. You know, Deshaun can't go out and catch the footballs that he throws, right?
Although he almost had a chance on the one late in the game, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah. But it's everything. Just the offense. What they got to stop doing is getting the penalties, especially the holding penalties. Like they keep shooting themselves in the foot. And you know, I feel like if they can clean that stuff up, Deshaun's life becomes much easier. The supporting cast of the playmakers around Deshaun, their lives become a little easier. So they can cut the penalties down. I think they'll be fine, but it's hard when you get in the red zone and then you have an offensive face mask and then you have back-to-back holding penalties. And now all of a sudden you're looking at a 3rd and 36. Like there is no 3rd and 36 on Kevin Stefanski's play call sheet. There just isn't. So, although maybe there should be now, but
never too late to start, right?
Right. But I feel like it's a collective effort there. It's not all on Deshaun, but because he's the quarterback, he gets the credit if they're successful. He gets the blame if they're not successful. And obviously, they won Sunday in Jacksonville, so he gets the credit for that.
All right, let's take a look at and try to figure out, you know, how the defense gets better too, because they're banged up, and you know, you talked about Myles Garrett with his foot. So, how does the defense get better?
I thought the defense was pretty good. I mean, red zone defense was good in Jacksonville. They did not give up a lot of points. I think that was one of their best road performances under Jim Schwartz. It might have been their best.
I think that's underestimated. I don't think anyone's really talked about that this week. Again, it was a road performance compared to what we saw. And if I'm Jim Schwartz, I'm feeling pretty good about it.
He should. Now, I know Jim Schwartz, and he's not going to be feeling pretty good about it. He's going to talk about all the things that they did wrong in the game and all the points of emphasis during the week when we visit with him on Thursday. But he should feel pretty good about what he saw. And again, it's all about the results. And I thought it was pretty good. I mean, Myles Garrett strip sack, you know, at the end of the game, they made enough plays to win it. You know, the safety at the end. I honestly, Andy, like that. I'm struggling with the question because I thought that they did good. Like I thought they played really, really well. And I honestly don't know many areas where I'm like, man, they really got to clean that mess up, because I don't see much of a mess on that side of the ball right now, even with the injuries that they're dealing with.
All right, let's come back. We're going to talk a little bit more about Deshaun Watson. I want to talk about the special teams, and I also want to take a look ahead at the New York Giants. Plus, boy, you lost a bet. We'll talk about that coming up. It's always game day in Cleveland. It's always game day in Cleveland. He's Daryl Ryder. I'm Andy Baskin. We are brought to you, of course, by Smiley One and Bryant, Northeast Ohio's premier heating and cooling solution. Daryl, when we last left, we were just talking a little bit about the offense. We were talking about the defense and the special teams. With the exception of an offside on a play that would have given the Browns the ball back deep in Jacksonville's territory, I thought the special teams, especially with Corey Bjorquez, took a step up in week number 2, and now I think can look forward to week number 3.
I'm sorry, what is his name again?
Corey Bjorquez. What's the problem? Corey Bjorquez. What do you want me to say? How do you want me to say it?
Corey Bojorquez.
Bojorquez.
Not
exactly.
Bjorquez. You said
Bjorquez.
Bojorquez.
You're kidding me. You're going to go Jeff Phelps on me here?
Yes.
Come on.
You're a professional.
What's the name of the rookie? What's the name of the Indians rookie pitcher?
Which one?
The one that starts with a C.
Crap. I don't know.
No. Let's go. We want to get nitpicking on names. Go ahead.
I have to. I got to look up what you're even talking about.
Cantillo or Cantillo?
What are my options?
Cantillo or Cantillo?
It should be Cantillo.
See, I thought the same thing, Jeff Phelps Jr. But then he reminded me, and then I realized again he's from Hawaii, so it's probably Cantillo
or Cantillo.
I thought Cantillo because we all learned in early Spanish class that two L's next to each other make the Y sound.
Not correct.
So,
but in the Hawaiian language, I don't know that applies either. So
very well, Bjorquez.
It's Bojorquez, not Bjorquez.
Well, you need to chill. You really. Why don't you buy me a burger when we screw something up next time, like you did for Nick Wilson?
Well, here's the thing. I'd go.
Let's just say it. You were a loser on this one. You got not only dissed with your prediction on the Guardians, but you also got dissed financially because he got to eat. And by the way, he would have eaten 1,000 times more had you offered more than a couple little stupid teasers and a burger.
Listen here. I'm not making the Andy Baskin money. I'm not making the money. Okay. I'm not making the Nick Wilson money. And because I love Nick dearly, I knew it was very important that I put a limit on the quantity of food. So he actually got me good, though. He got a triple cheeseburger.
Oh, he did get you good. Yeah.
You got the biggest burger he could get.
Right.
And on top of his milkshake, he ordered a Pepsi too. Right. I
did
guess.
Did you pick up both? Did you pick up the Pepsi and the milkshake?
What's that?
Did you pick up both?
Yeah. I'm a man of my word.
Did he get the supersized mega teasers that are off the menu but exist?
Here's the thing.
They just put the teasers. What they do is they put the teasers, they cook them and they put them in a garbage bag. And then they charge you like, I don't know, $200 for it.
Here's the thing, Andy. You think you're dunking on me by pointing out that I lost this bet?
I totally am, and you totally lost.
Yes. On me because I've acknowledged that I lost the bet. It didn't bother me that I lost the bet.
Okay.
Yeah, I do
it a positive thing for the Guardians.
It's not a big deal to me. So yeah, you can make all your comments you want. That's fine. I own it. I was.
It doesn't matter what I say. Your boy fried you on the radio, and he's been doing it for days. Like I'm listening, waiting for Browns news or Guardians news, or I'll even listen to Isaac Okoro contract news. But he was spending more time talking about you and the bet that you lost than he was about any of those things.
You know what the biggest news that got lost on Wednesday? Isaac Okoro broke Adrian Wojnarowski into retirement. Think about that.
Why was that his last story?
That was the last piece of news that was the last Woj bomb prior to Wednesday's Woj bomb. Isaac Okoro re-signing with the Cavaliers broke Woj.
Why do you think Woj retired to go to St. Bonnie's to be the general manager? Which, by the way, seems to be the hottest thing in college right now is to become a general manager.
Yeah, I think it's what he said. Lifestyle. I mean, there are times in my job where it's 24/7 for me. Like, I'm, if I can get a nap, especially like during free agency, you're just literally waiting for something to pop. Right. So, I think that's, part of it. Also too, I'm going to call it now, Shams Charania to ESPN. Because isn't he?
I don't know, but the way ESPN's spending money, why wouldn't you just use Wendy? Wendy has, as many contacts, can do as many things as Adrian. But they pumped Adrian, they did, and they created the Woj bomb, and they made him bigger than. They made him bigger than Wendy, and so why wouldn't you just give Wendy the same courtesies that you gave Woj on all that other stuff? You just got to pump it up. That's all. It's all marketing. True.
No, I don't work for the Mickey Mouse Network. Sorry.
Wow, look at you, harsh. We did talk about.
Hey, one of my good buddies, Mark Castasher, celebrating. I think he said 25 years there. Got a picture with Mickey Mouse.
Didn't Mark started at KNR with you guys? Didn't he?
Yes. So when I was doing the 24-hour, what was called the 24-hour Sports Center at the time, some long time ago, I was the overnight guy. Mark was the morning update guy. And one of my job responsibilities was to prep everything for his shift. So every morning he would come in. I would have everything laid out for him, audio, stories, wire, all that kind of stuff.
You were his intern is what you're saying.
No, I was not his intern. But
you were lower than his intern.
No, I was not lower than his intern. You're on mute, genius.
Does that job even exist? Lower than a lower intern? You know what they call that? Being the rider. It's true. I had to be the guy to admit it to you.
You are on one today.
What'd you do? Picked up the garbage. Oh, really? What else do you have to do? Well, the porcelain needed some scrubbing. Oh, you got hired as the rider? Oh, that is awesome. Outstanding.
You done?
Yeah, go ahead.
You're really proud of yourself.
I feel good about that. I feel good about it, yeah.
Really proud of yourself.
It's just how I roll.
Just remember, I'm on Baskin and Phelps Thursday.
Oh,
now.
All right, we're done.
Now somebody's regretting life decisions.
Trust me, I will take care of you on the air the way I do in this podcast, the same way, with the excellent treatment that you deserve as the hardest working person at our station. That's why I say these such nice things to you. Are we getting back to the game here at any point or no?
You're the one that took it off the rails. What are you looking at me to?
I understand.
My back hurts from carrying the podcast enough. Oh,
it's a good thing you started working out because you still aren't that strong. So, Daryl, the question I have for you.
You're really salty today.
You know, I am a Sagittarius. That's why.
We
are natural born.
Blame it on the meaningless horoscope. You're one of those people.
Oh, you keep talking. You tempt fate. Go ahead. Keep going.
I'm a Scorpio, man. You should know better. Don't mess with Scorpios.
I'm going to Phelps you right now. Ready?
Huh.
So how did the Browns beat the Giants right now?
Score more. Now I'm gonna Phelps you back. Score more points than them.
Okay. It's true. It is true.
Right.
What do you think of this matchup? Because, I mean, they played one game where they could have won, and then the other game, they're like, whatever. I mean, they only have 3, although I shouldn't talk about the offensive prowess of the Cleveland Browns right now, but they only have 3 touchdowns, too. 2 passing and 1 rushing.
Well, and Kevin Stefanski mentioned this on Wednesday as we get back to what people came here for, and that was serious Browns talk.
Oh, they did? Okay.
Clearly, they know neither of us. But in all seriousness, though, I mean, Kevin Stefanski mentioned on Wednesday that, hey, that 0-2 is somewhat deceptive when you look at the Giants. Look, I got to say, I'm looking forward to the Daniel Jones v. Deshaun Watson Bowl because, I mean, both of these guys are lightning rods for different reasons. But one of those reasons for both guys is their contracts, right? And the production that we've seen from them in relation to their contracts. Daniel Jones is still coming off the Achilles. He's still a mobile quarterback. The Browns are worried about containing him and him, extending plays and getting outside the pocket and things like that. So for me, when you talk about mobile quarterbacks, that's for me where it always starts, Andy. It's about keeping Daniel Jones hemmed in the pocket, making him as uncomfortable as possible within that pocket. And then I think you're fine. And you're going to force him into doing what Daniel Jones tends to do. And that is make bad decisions, right?
Correct.
So that, for me, when you talk about ways to beat the Giants, keys to victory, things like that, it starts with that, right? Just hem him in the pocket and make life miserable in the pocket. And then when footballs touch people in the hands,
you're supposed to catch them?
You need to catch them.
Yeah, that's
got to haul those in. Browns have had too many opportunities in the first 2 weeks to come away with turnovers, and they've not been able to do that. So I'd like to see the Browns start creating some turnovers. And I don't think that there's any better gift from the football gods than to give them the New York Football Giants in Week 3.
The hammer is coming to town. We're going to talk more about the Giants and the Browns and all other things. Browns coming up. It's always game day in Cleveland. It's always game day in Cleveland, and we are 2 segments, or I should say 2 rounds in to It's Always Game Day in Cleveland. This is feeling like an Olympic 3-round bout today on It's Always Game Day in Cleveland. Again, brought to you by our good friends at Smiley1 and Bryant, Northeast Ohio's premier heating and cooling solution. I thought I would say it a little slower that time just to make sure our friends know. Smiley1 and Bryant. By the way, Smiley1, I tell you this, they had to come out to our house. Oh, they were like that. It was awesome. Our air conditioner was broke when it was like 90 degrees a couple weeks ago. Yeah, that's the way I roll. All right, Daryl. So we talked a little bit about the Giants. I do want to bring this up because I think it's interesting. One of the stats we were looking at, and we were just breaking down Deshaun Watson on our show. Deshaun has 6 passes of 20 yards or more in 2 games. 50% of his passes have been 9 yards or less. Is it him or is it the trend in the NFL to watch shorter passes and more running, and things just seem to be a little – I got to be honest. I feel like the first 2 weeks of the NFL in general, there have been some good games. It felt like I'm watching preseason football with starters playing the entire game. Like I'm ready. I'm waiting for everyone to get up to speed. Now, I don't know. Am I being exclusive to the Browns on this? Maybe. But the other games I watched too have kind of had that same kind of feel.
I think I mentioned this on prior podcasts about September being the preseason for a lot of teams. I mean, Bill Belichick and Tom Brady and the Patriots were famous for, as I call it, messing around in September. And, you know, so if you wanted to get them, you had to get them in September because once you got to October, that's when they really had their stuff together and would get on those rolls. As far as the Watson and the passing, that's a league-wide thing right now. I forget what the numbers are, but like,
is it because of the defensive backs are stepping up? Is that why we're seeing short yardage passes?
You're seeing a lot of too high safety around the NFL, and so combine that with pressure. Quarterbacks are trying to get it out fast, right? So yeah, I mean you're getting some shorter passes, but don't tell Denzel Ward there's shorter passes being thrown. I had a conversation with him today about that. You know, they're taking shots at him. Now, he is second in the NFL right now. He's got 4 pass breakups. And he has the second most pass breakups. I didn't realize this. This is how good he's been. And this is why I get so annoyed at the Denzel Ward sucks vocal minority that's out there. They just don't appreciate how good this guy really is. He's one of the best corners in Browns history. He's right up there with like Frank Minifield. Okay. But he has the second most pass breakups in the NFL since he was drafted 4th overall. That's pretty damn good. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like that there's some unnecessary grief that gets thrown his way because he gets banged up occasionally. And I know the concussions are a concern and whatnot, but like, I don't think Browns fans appreciate how good of a cornerback Denzel Ward is. Like, he's really, really damn good. He's one of the best, like I said, in franchise history, but I digress. But yeah, I mean, but teams still take shots at him. You know, he's one of the best corners in the NFL. There's still, I mean, Dak Prescott took shots at him
and hit. And when you've got a good wide receiver, you'll take chances like that.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
But that's the life of being a cornerback, though. You're not going to. I mean, Darrelle Revis gave up plays. Like it happens, not often. And it doesn't happen often with Denzel either. So, yeah, I think that it's a league-wide thing right now. And that's why I think that's a better conversation, Andy, maybe like a month from now where the sample size is bigger. When we get like 6-7 games deep in the season, then because I just feel like, to your point, it's preseason for a lot of these teams.
Yeah, but it counts in the standings and could kill you at the end of the year. That's why I'm like, I don't think you can do this. I mean, teams are playing with fire.
Browns.
How do you think Cincinnati? I mean, Cincinnati's got to feel that way right now, and everyone's looking at Pittsburgh going, that team has no offense and barely has any touchdowns, and now they're looking down at the rest of the AFC North.
So I'm looking at the Browns' schedule right now. There's a real good chance they could be 4-1. I don't think anyone's going to care about them working through stuff if they're 4-1.
Well, I hope you're right. I just don't. I think.
I mean, look, I understand where you're coming from, and
yeah, I don't think.
But like,
figure it out in the preseason and come ready to play. Dallas came ready to play week 1, and then I don't know what happened against your Saints. Are your Saints for real? Are they for real? They have 90+ points in 2 weeks.
You know what? Congratulations to the Dallas Cowboys. I still look forward to their exit from the playoffs in wild card weekend.
Is that what it is? Well, they paid a lot of money for that exit.
Am I wrong?
Seat. Until they prove you otherwise, no, you are not wrong. Hey, let me ask you about this, Nick Chubb. Where are we with Nick Chubb? Because I'm starting to feel some optimism about him coming back for Week 5.
He's still on injured reserve. That's where we're at. He's still working.
Where is this optimism coming all of a sudden? I'm seeing, unless it's just hopeful people on Instagram.
Browns posted a photo of him getting handed a football, which I don't even know if that's a current photo or not. But like, I just, he's not, he can't practice because he is on injured reserve. So like, and I'll say this too, when he does come back, people got to pump the brakes on the expectations. Like, he's not going to come in and carry it 18 to 20 times a game. He's not going to rush for $125 in games. Like, he's going to need some time to get into it as well. Like, I just think people need to be a little real. And but Andy, this is why the passing game and this new Ken Dorsey offense is so very, very important, because this offense isn't supposed to lean on the run game. But what did we see against Jacksonville? They leaned on the run game.
Although the turf was a mess. I mean, they needed to.
It was raining and it was sloppy. But the bottom line is the Browns went back to the bread and butter against the Jaguars, and it worked really, really well. And I think that, like, David Njoku, I wouldn't. Kevin Stefanski said, high probability he's not going to play. I wouldn't even consider playing David Njoku. You can beat the New York Giants without David Njoku. You don't need Dave. Let him rest some more. Get him right. This is a game that the Browns absolutely should win. They don't need to have 100% of the supporting cast on the field to beat the Giants. It's the Giants.
All right, Daryl, before we have a couple minutes here, just before we got to say goodbye, there was the big story that was in the Plain Dealer. I know we had mentioned this and talked about the future of Burke Lakefront Airport and, what kind of a role it could possibly have for the Browns' future. Any stadium news going on there right now? Are we moving forward? I mean, at some point, someone's got to say, this is what the dealio is, don't they?
Well, actually, what's going on now is because Chris Ronayne, who's with the county, and you got Mayor Bibb, both of them are pitching this idea that the Browns could build at Burke. So the Browns are being fair about the process, and right now they're doing the due diligence on Burke. And basically, what that
another landfill, they're going to build on another landfill that has the same parking issues that you have on the same place? Help me.
Well, what I was planning on helping you.
Okay, I'm getting a little perturbed.
The due diligence is going to be they're going to make the politicians look like a bunch of bumbling morons.
Oh, okay. That's so. What's going to happen here?
Because it's going to cost. Here's how. Because it's going to cost 2 to 3 times more than the $2.4 billion to build in Brook Park. Okay. First of all, they have to redesign the dome, so they got to get the cost figures associated with that.
Right.
Estimate, what the new design of the dome would cost.
Okay.
And guesstimate, all right, because the studies for Burke came out this week as far as, what would happen if they closed it and all that. So they can pay almost $10 million in fines and get it closed faster, or they could just run the grants out like I've been talking about, and the earliest then they could close it without financial penalty would be 2036.
Gotcha.
Well, then you have the cost of a renovation to the existing stadium to keep it going till 2036. Okay.
True. Yes.
Then you have the new construction costs for the actual dome. Keep in mind the construction costs 12 years from now are going to, if you think $2.4 billion for a dome is expensive, wait till 12 years from now when you begin construction, right? So now all of a sudden that $2.4 billion becomes $5 billion, maybe $6 billion. You see what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, it's ridiculous.
So they're going to but hey, the Browns are
going to listen.
They listen to what the mayor and the county executives had to say, and so they're crunching the numbers right now. And at some point, I think they're going to put those numbers out, and then that's going to be the end of that discussion. And I think at that point, Andy, that's when they'll make their final decision and
tell everyone it's going to Burke Park,
and tell everyone that.
Well, can't we just hit the fast forward button on this thing? Because otherwise, you're probably talking about, So let's say you're gonna get rid of Burke, and then what do? You get rid of the Shoreway. You integrate the Muni lot into that, and you make it one area from 55th down to West 3rd, right? Isn't that what you're doing?
Making it so no freeways can get to Burke Lakefront Airport.
Right.
Go to a stadium. Brilliant city planning. I was texting with I was texting with someone today about this very subject that deals with these things. It's not my I feel so out of place when I cover this stuff because
Political.
I'm dealing with people that I never deal with
Mm-hmm.
on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of feel so out of pocket. But I was texting with a couple of them today, and there were some laughs to be had about this whole Burke Lakefront Airport plan and just how
I like the other plan that they were talking about. They're talking about putting like a big youth sports facility down there, like Cedar Point has. I mean, there's a lot of money, and you could raise some serious funds if you're going to turn that into residential. I can see them doing a lot of great things down there if they wanted to do it.
Yes, because I want to live on a former trash heap. Yeah, that's exactly what I want to do. Here's the other thing: if the Browns do go to Brook Park,
yeah,
all the lakefront space that you need and that you desire is going to be available to you because the stadium won't be there anymore.
Within 15 years, you can have everything you want.
And
if you want to pick up the big record player and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, you can move it over here.
But here's the thing:
you could even put a CD player in and upgrade it. Pull out the 8-track.
You're really on one today. But my point is that land to me is more valuable for lakefront development than Burke is, because that's where two key tourism assets are: the Rock Hall and the Science Center. And then next to it, you've just got this big gray stadium in the way of everything. So if you get that out of, if the Browns do go to Brook Park and you get that out of there, now you have all this open space that you haven't developed around to begin with.
Right.
Now can move forward with the development. And yeah, then it doesn't matter that you turn Route 2 into that boulevard and things like that. So for me, that's what Cleveland should really focus on. Closing Burke Lakefront Airport makes no sense now, especially if the Browns do go to Brook Park. Leave it. Just leave. Why spend more money on that? When
bigger development, make it bigger. We all want bigger.
And do things.
Here's my final thought, because we got to go. We're running out of time, and we're running out of space. We have a lot of storage space that we have to take care of. Otherwise, we're going to have to hit delete, and then we're going to have to upgrade, and it's not going to be good. I just say turn Old Cleveland Brown Stadium into a casino. We're good to go.
Oh, it's the second casino we were promised 15
There you go. Just got to redistrict the land. That's all. He's Daryl Ryder. I'm Andy Baskin. Evan O'Brien is our amazing producer. Thank you very much. It is always game day in Cleveland.